Alright, next we're going to talk about composition. We've mentioned it a little bit, but composition is how you're going to lay out your paper. A lot of people will start drawing, and they'll start drawing something that's very detailed. So let's draw an apple. Actually, I'm going to draw something a little bit different. I'm going to draw just like the cord from my projector because I have it sitting here. And they'll sketch like we learned in the last video. And they'll go and start to get really detailed with it. They'll work in parts for the plug. And I'm not going to do a lot of detail, but they would work through this and detail the whole thing. They might even start shading and then realize, oh, the cord's pretty long and it's going to go off the page. And then we've got all this blank space down here and this cord hanging out at the top that actually gets cut off. And then the person's really bummed because they spent too much time on it and they might have to cut down their page or something, which if you were counting on a certain size won't work. So with composition, some tricks that artists do that they don't always tell you. The first thing is artists burn the image with their mind on the page, which sounds all magical cool, right? But it's just look at your object or whatever you're drawing, look at your page and envision it on the page. Where is it going to be? How's it going to fit? How big is it going to be? And make conscious decisions about, you know what, I'd like the cord to end up over here because I'd like to have some space up here so it doesn't look crowded. Whatever your decisions are, have a reason for it. Don't just be like, whoa, that's where it ended up. After I've burned the image with my mind, then I'm going to make some light marks that are not drawing the whole thing, just to say, yep, you know what, that's going to fit and I like the placement. Or no, it's not and I want to fix it. Then you can go back in and sketch the whole thing out. And this isn't detailed yet. And make sure, yep, it looks good. Now I can go in, detail it, shade it, add textures and all that. Another thing with composition is, this is used in photography a lot, but if you divide your paper into 3/3 from top to bottom and from left to right, 1, 2, 3. This is something you usually do in your imagination. You don't actually draw lines on your picture, but I wanted to visually show you. If you have your paper divided into thirds, these places where the lines intersect are really good places to put your focal point or your subject matter. A lot of times dead center isn't the best. Can you do dead center? Yeah. But these are places, it's nice to offset it sometimes a little bit. Also, if you're doing a landscape, maybe rather than putting the horizon line and your mountains or whatever dead center, it looks nice to put it up at this top third line or this bottom third line, again to offset it, so you can keep rule of thirds in mind. If you're drawing something that's moving or looking or pointing in a certain direction, you want to give that thing some space. For example, if you're drawing a car, I'm not going to do a detailed car for sake of time, but let's say I'm drawing a car. And this car is moving in this direction. Putting that car right up against the edge of the page kind of limits its movement. Same if you were drawing like a person that we're looking in this direction, the stick person. It's nice if you can give them some space or somewhere to look. It lets the viewer wonder what they're looking at, and it gives it some space to move. So you might want to move the car back a little. And it's not a drawing tutorial, right? It's a composition tutorial, so I'm not spending a lot of time. But this leaves the car some room to move. You just want to think about things like that and be intentional about it, and don't just let it happen by accident. So how about you? How are you going to lay out your next drawing? Do you want the object large on the page? Do you want it small on the page? A lot of times we get like the itty bitty drawing with all this space. And also with composition, think about what are you going to do with the background. It can be something as simple as just doing some shading in the background that can make all the difference. So start thinking about composition.